Hi everybody! So I am going to do a multi-look one palette with the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette. A lot of people have requested this, and then I posted on Instagram a couple of different palettes and was like, hey, what do you guys think? And the overwhelming majority wanted to see looks with this palette. And I think it's a very beautiful autumnal color story. Some of like the finishes are fairly unique to Natasha Denona, but some of the shades you can definitely dupe with other things. So I thought this would be a good palette because it has a lot of tones that I like for this time of the year, and I think it's just such a beautiful sort of nature inspired color story. So anyway, I want to do a orange look, I think. I was debating a couple different things, which is why I always end up going to multiple looks with one palette as opposed to just one look, especially one that has so many shadows, because it's impossible to just narrow it down to like one or even two things. So I'm first gonna go in with this shade right here, which is sort of like a pale brown, a little mustardy. There's two shades in here that are kind of a little mustardy. Like this is actually really close to ColourPop's Paper Tiger, this shade here, but I'm gonna use this one. I really wanna rearrange this palette. I haven't rearranged it. I've seen a lot of people who have rearranged the Metropolis palette, and there are some repetitive shades, which is not surprising, but it is a little frustrating. So my plan with this look today, the first look is just to do like a really orange, yellow, sort of inspired a little bit by candy corn, but I really just, maybe a little bit, maybe a little inspired. And like a lot of blush. I don't even know if so many of my looks are very eye focused anymore as much as they are blush focused, because it's just what I'm into. I'm more about blush than I am anything else. I'm going to take this orange shade right here next. So that's one of those cream to powder shadows. They were swatching a little funny because I was afraid they were getting a little bit dried out, and it's definitely encouraging me to dig this palette out more, especially with these smaller pan sizes. Not that I'm going to like be panning it or anything, but just because I want to use it a little bit more, because I'm more afraid of those shadows turning on me than I am about other shadows in this palette and other shadows I have that are powder shadows that might decline in quality, but not to the extent that something that's like cream based would. So I really want to do like a heavy orange blush, like a lot of blush, like right kind of across my face. I was thinking of just doing something very simple first, and I kept going back and forth. I am just really dragging this down. I might end up trying this shadow as a blush actually, because I'm already dragging it down my face. Next, I'm going to take the darkest orange shadow. That's one of like the most easiestly duped shadows. This is ripe. And I'd say that pretty much if you own more than one eyeshadow palette, even if you only own one, depending on what you own, you probably own an orange. And I just love orange shadows for all the time, but especially fall. Like I just feel like I really lean into those nature colors. I have to get a more precise brush. I really wanted more of that orange. So I am experiencing some fallout, but I'm gonna kind of lean into the fallout. Like I'm just brushing it off with a brush right now, but my plan is to have a lot of blush anyway. So for like what I'm hoping it should not be so bad. It's different like when you use like a blue or something, and then it's really hard to correct. It really is just like the simplest eye, and I actually really like stuff like this. Like I would just put on some eyeliner. I'd probably put like, okay, so I am planning on going in with this shimmery sort of cream color, which I would normally just do like on a very simple makeup day when like I really just have to do my makeup super quickly. Like it really would just be that quick. I would probably throw a little bit of that just in the inner portion of my eye, highlight, put my blush on and go. I don't spend a lot of time on my makeup because I just don't have a lot of time on my makeup, but I want to spend a little bit more time. So I am going to use, this is starting to dry out on me now, but this is one of the old KVD brow pomades actually. This is the bleach one, which I bought simply because I like using these kind of cream products as bases for like a cut crease or a half cut crease. Now this I might have spoken too soon. This may be a little too dry. It may not be usable. I may need to save this with some Duraline actually, and it's right in front of me. So let's do that right now while we're doing it. This is how I save products like this. When they start to dry out, it's just like a couple of drops of Duraline. I don't use this very often. I just use products like this for cut creases, and I don't even do cut creases that often anymore because it hasn't been my makeup style. Like, it's hard to explain, I guess. It's just not to say that I'm very precise. My hands are definitely very shaky. But I'm just using that to sort of cut out a little portion. I like this particular shade because it's close to my skin tone anyway, and it's a really good like blank shade, so that I can either leave it or like set it with like a powder, or set it with an eyeshadow or like layer eyeshadow, but it's still like light enough that a different shade would pop. Like I could do like a gold shade or something on this, on the inner portion of this as well if I wanted to. That's why I really like this sort of creamy color. This eye definitely turned out better than this eye, and that just happens sometimes. It is what it is. So I'm going to take that lighter white creamy shade now, and seems to, I picked up way too much on my brush. I'm just going to press that right on top and sort of blend it in, and then I will go back and I will blend on top. I'm using my brush to kind of fix some of those harsh lines from the brow pomade, but I will do most of the correction with brush, so I'm actually gonna dip right into like a pencil brush to get more product on there, and then I will blend it with a fluffier brush. And I always blend out. I try not to drag my shadow in, because I find that it's harder to correct, because I don't want to cover the white part, so I always try and just keep, like, I'm just dragging out. And then taking that darker shade again. I'm just kind of blending above it. I don't have a lot of eye space. And that's also why I like using the like brow pomades or like a gel liner as opposed to concealer, because I find that it doesn't crease anywhere near as bad as like a concealer does. So there's nothing on this brush, and I'm blending it right into my brows. Like it's gonna look really, really high, because it is, because if I had more brow space or just lid space, I wouldn't have brought it up so high, but I'm bringing it right up against my brows, and then I will highlight a little bit, which will take away a little bit from it. Now, again, I have some fallout, but we're gonna lean right into the fallout, and instead of brushing it away, I'm actually just gonna press it right in to my skin and start using the fallout actually as a base for where my blush is gonna go, because I really want a heavy blush. So like I think it's gonna come together once it has more like liner and lashes and everything. Like, this is definitely beginning stages. I'm going to take that white shade though, that cream shade that I used on the lid portion, and I'm just gonna put a little bit underneath the brow bone, because there's just that like tiny little gap of space between where I had blended the shadow, and I find that little highlight helps just a little bit, in my opinion. At least it's the way that I like makeup. I know that it's not going to be the way that everybody likes makeup, and that's kind of the fun of these things anyway, is that maybe it'll even just be inspiring. So I'm going to use this brush to kind of dip in to the orange shade and here, the cream to powder shade that I had used previously. I will end up blending this out with my blush brush, but I really wanted to get just a rough idea if this would work kind of the way that I'm thinking, and I think it will, because the best part about this is that it is going to match exactly. I'm not going to have to worry about trying to match something with what I already have, because that's what I was thinking of. Like with my blush, I was like, okay, do I have to like mix different blushes together to get the kind of effect that I want? And I think these will actually blend just the way I want it. So you can see this is the intense side, and then I just ran my brush through, and it's definitely a lot more blended, but I do want it to be more pigmented, so I think I will have to go in again. And I am bringing the blush up high, as I am wont to do. I like a lot of blush, and I really did want to go straight across. A very blushy thing. So I'm really just taking this brush, and the reason I'm using this brush is because the brush itself is smaller, so I can very easily dip it into the pan. It looks crazy, but as tempting as it may be when you're using like your bigger blush brush to just dip it into your eyeshadow pan, like I almost did it. You might have seen me wanting to go in with it. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's not worth it, because there is no way with a brush that's so big, even if you squeezed all the bristles together, that you're only going to pick up the product that you want. Just use another brush and place it on your face, and then blend it out with your regular blush brush or whatever blush brush you want to use. You don't have to feel like you have to use the same tools all the time. Like that's one thing that I've been trying to get out of my head, is being like, well, if I start with one tool, I have to end with one tool, and I don't even know where I got that from. So I have to blend this up. This is definitely blending out more than I feel like a regular blush formula would, because it's meant to be blended out on your eyes as opposed to being blended on your face. But that's just part of the trial and error. I've never used these eyeshadows as blushes before. I have used Natasha Denona shadows as blushes before from different palettes, but not this specific palette. And you never know how things are going to perform in different shades, because sometimes something works really well and then you try something similar and it just doesn't. And it's hard to predict that. You just kind of have to try it. So I was really just winging it. So I feel like this is a pretty good place. I did bring though more blush, and this is the Likely Makeup Clown Blush palette, and there is this shade in here called Contortion, which is this beautiful like rusty orange color, and I really want some of that because I feel like that will give me the extra intensity of like actual blush. So just dragging that up. I do feel like that layers really nicely. I have to kind of adjust some of it here because it's too low down here, but I will blend that out for sure. And then I am going right across the nose. I just really feel like I just want like really intense. I'm gonna take the yellow blush and press the yellow blush a little bit up here. I wanted a little bit of yellow. Sometimes it can end up looking kind of like a bruise or like an injury, but I like it. So that really is looking exactly kind of how I was visioning it. I'm taking the foundation brush I had used earlier on my face, and I'm just blending sort of the blush, because I felt like it was a little too harsh and too, I didn't want like a harsh like blush line. I really wanted it to be more soft so that you couldn't really tell exactly where it started. And that's what I really love, going back in and sort of like lightly going over. I do think I will need a little bit more definition around my eyes for sure, but just to help me, I like to do things in steps and see how things look and add to things as opposed to leaping too far ahead. Like, I know I want to put big eyelashes on, so I want to get to the eyelash part and then go from there and decide what I want to do next. So I have this little mini Stila black eyeliner, which I really need to just buy a new liquid eyeliner because this, I've really just been holding on to it, trying to make it last. Just because I like to have a black liner sometimes for right against the lashes when I'm putting fancy eyelashes on for certain looks, because it just helps with the lash band. But it doesn't help when it's hard to even draw a line because it's kind of dried out, right? So I just need to like buy one from like NYX or something. Any drugstore eyeliner recommendations, liquid eyeliner recommendations would be very, very much appreciated. I don't need anything fancy, just preferably something with a smaller tip, nothing too thick, because I don't have a lot of lid space, so I don't like to have like giant winged liner. It's why I don't do winged liner hardly ever. Like, it's very rare that I do a winged liner because I just don't have the eye space for it. Okay, so I just put the eyelashes on. I haven't done anything else but eyelashes and a little extra mascara, so you can see. I wanted the big dramatic lashes because that's just the vibe that I wanted for this look. I can definitely see with the lashes on that the lower lash line is missing something, so I'm going to take this Fenty Beauty eyeliner in Space Cookie, which is brown with a little bit of a sparkle to it, and I'm just gonna go right up against my lower lash line, but not the waterline. And then I'm going to actually take the red shade right here. So this is like a red sparkly sort of shade, and I'm just taking a little bit of that on a little Elle pencil brush, and I'm kind of mixing it with that eyeliner a little bit right up against my lower lash line. And I'm not taking it all the way into the inner corner. It's like 3/4 of the way. And then I am going to take a little bit of the orange again and just sort of blend. That's the cream to powder orange. Perfect. I think I'm going to call it quits on that. I don't want to like bring too much more into it. I was sort of thinking about a whole bunch of extra layers and everything else. I am going to take a little bit of a highlighter. This is from Becca. It's the Light Chaser highlighter in Pearl Flashes Gold, because I really wanted something gold and a little bit reflective. And then all we are left with is a lip color. So the first thing I'm going to take is this gloss from Pixi. It is Sweet Nectar, and it is supposed to be one of those plumping glosses. I honestly didn't notice like a huge difference, but mostly I wanted to use this because it has a little bit of an orange tint to it. You could just leave it with a little bit of a gloss, but since I went big, I'm going to take a little bit of an orange. This is one of the liquid suede lipsticks in Orange County. It's from NYX. And I just rubbed my lips together until it was blended. And this is the completed look. So this is look number 1 with the Metropolis palette. Very simple orange look. Very simple. I know everyone laughs when I say that, but to me, this is a simple look minus the lashes. Like, I know like the lashes take it to like a different category, but if you took the lashes off, and even with a heavy blush and an orange eye, it's all very monochromatic. It's very easy to do. It's very comforting, and this is the kind of style that I've really been into lately, which is why I wanted to start with this kind of look. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Why am I ending this? So have it. Okay, we're gonna go into some other looks where I'm going to dive into some of the different tones in here as well. And I always try my best to kind of come up with like different shapes for eyeshadow and different placements for things, as well as different combinations with other products on the face and the lips as well. Anyway, let's move into some things, maybe some green next. Welcome to the fourth look with the Metropolis palette. So we had the orange and the green and the red, so I thought, why not do blue? There is one blue shade that stands out here. So I thought that I would do a very simple look since the last one kind of got away from me a little bit. I had a different intention, and then I was sitting there with the liquid liner and I was like, let's do it. Let's do it. What could possibly go wrong? Everything. Everything could possibly go wrong. I really need to clean my brushes again, but I decided I would clean my brushes after I'd done this, so I might regret that. My plan is to use like the blue, the dark blue, and probably the green as well. I'm thinking of something very simple because the other 3 looks did have lashes, and I want to at least have one that doesn't have lashes. I'm just trying to figure out where I want to start. What do I want to do? I'm tempted to grab some tape and do a sharp line. I think that'll be the easiest thing to do. Of course, I don't have tape in front of me because I'm a moron. Voila, tape. I made it happen. Okay, so I'm just gonna go right for the dark shade. I'm gonna go right for it. I'm not shy. I'm trying to decide which of these nearly identical blues. Let's swatch them. Well, I guess it's more like a blue-green, but that still works. They really are so close to get, like, I wish there was a black in this palette. I really, like, okay, so these are the 2 dark shades. I'm gonna go with the one that's right underneath the blue, which is just a little bit more blue and just a little darker, but that's what I feel like is missing from this palette. It's just something dark, and I really wanted one of those shades to be black, and I feel like one of them could have easily been substituted. Because there's a couple of shades in here that are very repetitive, and I don't feel like we get anything from it. My favorite thing when I do looks like this is when people are like, wow, sort of like full chaos. You just really go for it. Like, yeah, I just, it's the way that I do makeup and the way that I sort of taught myself, but I would never call myself like a tutorial channel. Like, if anything, maybe I give inspiration for like placements and color combinations, but I don't really feel like I have the strength to be like showing people how to do something. I had a different idea in mind originally, which I didn't think about until I had already started putting the shadow on. So again, I'm looking for a clean brush. I knew I was going to do this to myself. Okay, so I'm going to do the blue shade next. I mean, this is a really pretty palette, but this blue kind of stands out to me in kind of a weird way. It either needs to, in my opinion, it either needs to not be in, or there needs to be more similar shadows, like in terms of brightness, because there's just something about it that, and I feel like people either completely use this blue or completely avoid it. I was looking at other people's tutorial videos and like reviews on Metropolis to kind of to see what people are doing and kind of trying to think about what I could do that maybe looked a little bit different. And I noticed that the way that I do my makeup is pretty different from like a lot of the people that do multi-look videos, especially for Natasha Denona. Like, it's just a different, I feel like my vibe is different than those people. I'm blending the blue, the lighter blue into the darker blue. I just wish that that other shade was just a little bit darker. But I really just wanted to do sort of like a simple kind of gradient with the blue and the green, because I really like blue and green quite a bit. And I just thought it would be like a fun sort of swap. I'm gonna try this bright green first. So this one right here. I'm gonna try that out first and see how that works for me. I'm trying to avoid using the duochrome shade like too much, because it's absolutely my favorite shadow in this whole palette. Probably the one that I'm the closest to hitting pan on, the most closest. I love this green. I really enjoy this green shadow that's in here. And I'm just dragging a little bit more of the green sort of all the way on top of the blues. Okay, I'm totally gonna end up using the duochrome shadow. I can already feel it. I can feel it. This is what I was kind of hoping for. Originally, I was gonna just do the brighter blue in the outer corner and more of the green, and then the darker blue on the lower lash line. It didn't happen that way, so I'm just gonna, I mean, I already have my base makeup I already have my base makeup on, and I'm going to probably need to touch up a little bit. That's the hardest part with blue too. And like normally when I would use blue shadow, I would much prefer to do it before I put my base makeup on, especially if I was going to do the tape thing, just because it's so easy to kind of mess everything up with the blue shadow, because blue shadow is really hard to correct. Like once it already gets down there. And I definitely notice fallout with blue eyeshadow. It doesn't seem to matter what palette it is I'm using, what shadows, there's always fallout with blue. If you've ever used a blue eyeshadow and it hasn't caused fallout, I'd be very curious to know. Because I don't believe it. Fake news. Maybe there are people who can just do things like one swipe and they're done, but for me, it was never gonna work that way, so I kind of had to teach myself like what was falling in between. And that's why I like to keep some of those steps in when I do videos like this. Like I like to show that like, okay, I'm going back and forth and I'm adding a little bit more now. And okay, I've decided like I want a little bit more blue. So we're gonna dip back into the darker blue color. And okay, so I am gonna dip into the duochrome shadow, which I said I wasn't gonna do, but I'm gonna dip into it because I think I'm gonna use it as a highlight shade because it's beautiful and transformative. That's perfect. That's exactly, I'm glad I trusted my instincts on that one. That's exactly what I wanted. But I like this. So I'm just gonna slap some mascara on. Like I said, I feel like it would definitely be more impressive with falsies. And if I do decide to film another video after doing this, I will probably throw falsies on just because I like the way that they look on camera, but I don't feel like it's absolutely necessary. And I just want to stress that as well, that I don't feel like it's totally necessary. So this is just a dark green eyeliner. It is specifically Junkie from Urban Decay. So I just wanted to, I don't often like to throw in things that are terribly unique in terms of extra things when I do videos like this, because there are so many times where I'm like watching a video that's like 3 looks, 1 palette. I'm like, yes, these look so inspiring. And the reason why it was so inspiring was because half of the look was comprised of a, you know, discontinued glitter from a brand or a specialty eyeliner or something. So this is just a dark green eyeliner, but I really think that you could use a blue or just a black eyeliner. I just really wanted to emphasize a little bit more green, so like I think it makes a slight difference, but nothing too crazy. I really just wanted, my goal was to have a very simple look, and a lot of the other looks I've done have been very blush focused. So for this one, I'm just going to use a little bit of Breath of Plum, so Plum blush from MAC. Trying to shop my stash a little bit for some things. I do enjoy like creating a whole look when I do a video like this. It just keeps me in it a little bit more and a little bit more inspired. And then for highlighter, I keep on using the same things. They're just what's in front of me, but I'm just going to use the Becca Light Chaser highlighter in Pearl Flashes Gold. So that I feel like will match sort of the duochrome a little bit. And since this is right in front of me, this is a MAC Dazzle Glass in Goldie Rocks, so I don't think it's really gonna do anything too crazy. It's really just gonna be like a glittery lip gloss. And then for fun, I think I will put on a colorful lip, but I wanted to show it first sort of with just a regular lip. So this is just very quick eye look and a very quick whole makeup look, but I feel like it's kind of really tied together and I feel like it looks really good, even though it is very simple. Although, you know, the lashes would probably make it look better. Lashes tend to make everything look better, especially on camera. But anyway, I'm gonna put a darker lip on and see how that goes. Okay, so basically I just took the lip off and then just put the dark lip back on again because I thought that was the thing that suited it the most. Not quite what I had envisioned. I think a green would have been really cool if I had like a really like, if I had a green that sort of matched that inner. That would have been really cool. Problem solving. Now, this is not necessarily safe for your lips, and I will be taking this off immediately after finishing this, so this is just really kind of for the pictures more than anything else. So I'm going to take a little bit of that green. I just want to remind people, I'm going to try a little bit of that duochrome. I'm just experimenting. I like it. So I have had a few people mention to me in the past about how putting shadow and stuff on your lips isn't necessarily safe. Some of this stuff is not safe to be congested. I really am doing this just for the look, for the image, and I will be taking this off right after. So just keep that in mind. It would be much better if I had an actual lipstick, something that was actually formulated for the lips, than actually putting shadow on, but that's just one thing just to be cautious. If you are putting a product somewhere it's not intended to be. So anyway, this is the fourth and final look for my Metropolis palette for Looks One palette. Let me know what other palettes you would like to see me do this with. I have a couple of other ideas and a few people have suggested other Natasha things like the Glam palette, and I had posted on Instagram about the e.L.f. Retro Paradise palette. I think that's what it's called. My brain's cluttered right now. But yeah, so let me know what you would like to see. If you'd like to see more of these sort of videos or just any video suggestions at all would be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I hope we get a chance to chat soon. Bye for now.